Oh man, and then you met Prolific at Wingate.
Yeah.
Both of y'all play football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Crazy, man. I'm going to tell the story about how we met, bro. I'm going to tell the story about well, we knew each other in football and everything like that. So I was a DB. He was a receiver and everything like that. And so Pro was, big dude and everything like that. And I'm a freshman coming in and stuff like that. And they hyping him up every time he catch a ball. That's a grown-ass man right there. That nigga got a kid. And I was like, oh, okay, wait, hang on. I don't know what this has to do with me and anything like that. But, like, every time they step in the field, all the receivers, that's a grown-ass man right there. Don, yo, Hopkins, you ain't going to guard him. Why? Kid, okay. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. I was like, we at the same school, bro. And so we got cool in football and everything like that. And then we had a mutual friend, Nova, and he was working with Nova.
Oh yeah,
music.
yeah.
And so, but me and Nova are just teammates and everything. So I was just starting off making music in school, and so I was doing a couple years, kind of just in the cut and everything like that. And so I'm used to him by going by his government name. I ain't gonna put your government name out there because of respect.
I don't think I even know it.
Yeah. So
you don't? That's crazy.
So
it's actually wild.
So I know I'm going by his real name, and he's going. Nova's like, yo, you gotta work with Prolific, bro.
Yeah.
Like, dog, Prolific gonna get your sound right. I swear, bro. Trust me. I'm like, all right, cool. So I get his number, but I'm texting him as an artist. So I'm like, yo, this is Donny. Nova told me this Pro, bro. Like, word was good, cool. And so he sends me his address to his crib. So I pull up to the crib. I ring the doorbell.
This nigga, yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, what are you doing here? He's like, dog, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here to work with Pro. He's like, I am Prolific. I was like, like, that's crazy. So, and then ever since then, we've really been locked in, and it's known him for 6 years, but been working in music now for 4.5, about to be 5, coming up. So yeah, that's my brother right there. That's really my older brother right there. Much love and respect and admiration for that man sitting to my right.
Great producer, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Great producer.
Absolutely.
You kind of touched on a little bit earlier, I guess a couple topics ago. What's next moving forward?
Great question. I think the next thing is, now that I have established the foundation of where my sound is and how I kind of view and where I want to attack music at, it's all about now just sharpening that tool even more and really just expanding that bag. And then just making sure there's more consistency, both not only with the music dropping and what we got, but also, like how Pro said, being outside and just creating that brand. So we got a couple of things lined up. We got a show coming up in September, planning a release party in August for Spectrum. Consistently working. I got a couple of other projects with a couple of artists, collab projects coming out soon as well too. And just also just really doing community stuff and everything. My biggest thing is, since I work in politics, and just making sure I care about the community, doing a lot of community stuff so that way I can tie music and politics together. Because at the end of the day, that's my biggest goal, is to be able to create a lane and an avenue in which music can be able to be a true representation of our culture and what's going on without having the negative stereotypes and everything attached to it. So I'm trying to break down walls and barriers that way. So the biggest thing of doing that is making sure that my brand is out there in the community, outside of just like Javon Hopkins, what Javon's doing, but like genuinely tying what Javon Hopkins and Donny Parks is doing together. So that way it's just one universal image. So it's just building the brand and connecting with the community and just, being truly Donny Parks and who I want to be and who I want to represent.
Do you want so you want the politics you and the artist you to be one or separate? Because I have like 3-4 brands, but I'm like separate entities.
I think that's a great question. Honestly, that's a great question. I look at it as an umbrella.
Okay. So who's top?
Javon Hopkins, for sure.
Hopkins, okay.
Javon Hopkins is going to be on top because, that's God-given name. That's where I was at.
And that's politics.
That's politics. I mean, not to throw a resume out there like this, but I work right now. I partner with the state, and I run a youth program in which I'm able to help out underprivileged kids get housing, education, and employment. Biggest youth program in the city, and so basically running the biggest youth program in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
Only 25 years old. Worked on 3 different presidential campaigns, 2 congressional races, local election, and also did plenty of hundreds and countless of hours of door knocking, phone calling, volunteering for multiple races and everything like that. So, and that's all in the span of since 2019. You know what I mean? So like building,
years.
About 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And so 4 or 5 years really built a name for myself out there in the community, especially in politics. So that's the big umbrella and everything. And then using Donny Parks to be able to dive in deeper into it. And so I think Donny Parks is probably, if Javon Hopkins is Michael Jordan, then Donny Parks is definitely Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? Serving that real purpose role of being able to assist and provide all those different outlets and accesses to the community in which I'm trying to get engaged in, which is our young minorities, making sure they understand the importance of their voice, their power of their voice, and the representation that they do have in their hands that they just don't understand, not know about, but they just don't really understand. And so if I can be able to connect with you musically wise and let you see my insecurities, my fears, my faults, my everything like that, and you understand what my true purpose is, and then on the other side you're seeing that I'm doing things in the community that's still tackling the exact same thing I talked about in the song, tying all that together, so
coexist.
that, you know what I'm saying, so that way when you're seeing that, oh my gosh, Donny Parks wanted to run for congressional, it's not a stretch. You can go look at my background and see everything that I've done, as well as you can go look at my music track record and see it lines up the exact same way. So it's a guy who knows what he's talking about and actually putting that work in to do what he's trying to do.
Smooth. I mean, talking to talk, bro. Yeah, I already knew. I should have known you do politics, man.
Yes, sir.
Smooth with it. Smooth with it. What do you think the maximum or minimum or both ages to be president?
So the minimum age is 35, point blank period. That's just a law.
No, I'm saying you. Like if you had full control over it, what would you do? 35 still?
I would still do 35.
Okay.
I would still do 35 because 35, you have a better understanding of what your life is at.
Okay.
And I think you've been able to, three and a half decades, you've been able to really get an experience and truly understand exactly what's going on. So it's a lot of naiveness. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
A lot of naiveness of the 20s is not that, financial experience, not that true adulthood experience and this, that, and the third yet. So as you get into your late 20s, you start understanding a little bit more, but when you get into your 30s and you start mastering it. Yeah. So you're at a point now in which you're not the youngest generation, you're not the oldest, so you're right there enough to be able to cause that fight for avid change. So I think 35 is definitely the best number to be at for presidency.
And then max, because these niggas what, 60, 70,
now
80?
Max genuinely.
Let's say president and government. Some niggas like 80 in there still.
So
like
I think truth be told,
making laws, yeah.
Truth be told, I think the best age is 65.
Max for everything.
Max for everything. I think 65 is the best cutoff time because you still can be kind of connected to what's going on below you in like the younger generations, this, that, and the third. But you're definitely out of touch though. You're
100%.
definitely out of touch. So, and then all the advancements and everything like that, there's going to be new issues that you probably never thought about. Issues that we're dealing with is 45 years ago with things that nobody never thought about. Marijuana being actually not as bad as people thought it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
LGBTQ community, that wasn't really a big thing back in the days and stuff like that. Minority rights still wasn't a big thing, back in the days like that and everything. So a lot of the issues that we do and we're more comfortable with and present with, someone in their 60s or 70s and 80s definitely don't understand it.
They just don't know.
And they're going to have that tough and like rigid mindset. So there's no room for change. And at the end of the day, that's what democracy and politics is about. It's compromise and change. So I think 65 is that good cutoff point. Hey, you served your time, you did your representation for what you did, but now it's time to pass the baton off. New generation can step in and take over where you left off at.
New generation. That's why I always tell people, man, in the next 20 to 30 years, good or bad, shit is going to change across government. Because some niggas going to be dead. 20 years, they're all out of there. So it's like either going to be good where we have new guys coming in, or it's going to be bad where them old heads did have a system in place.
Right.
But these new guys are kind of on some but doing what I want to do.
You know what I'm saying? What I mean? I think it's going to come down to, I think it's going to be probably a combination of both. I think it's going to be a little chaotic and hectic when certain systems do get breaking down. But sometimes that breakdown is the most important thing that we need to do to figure out how we need to grow. A lot of things were established based off of like really bad precedent. You know what I mean? Like even to the point of like our representation in votes, even in Congress, there's certain procedures that still block African American representation in votes and stuff like that. And so like gerrymandering's a thing that limits our votes and things like that too. So a lot of our system is based off of things like that. So if we break it, of course, it's going to be, how do we put the pieces together right now? But sometimes it's got to be broken in the best way. So you got to deal with the rough patches to be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? So I'm not scared. I'm very excited, and especially with the generation that's coming up, is probably the most politically active generation that comes up.
They're more in tune, man. They're more in tune. It's funny. It's good, but it's funny still. Like a lot of younger white kids in general, they look at slavery and they're looking at their parents like, why would you even do that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Right.
the racism shit doesn't make any sense.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And their parents can't even like grip that. They don't really understand. Oh, why are you talking like that? It's like kids are like, no, what do you mean? Like,
you know what I mean? Like nowadays, you just care about a person for being a person.
facts.
You know,
Facts.
there's not a lot of caveats or like exceptions. You know, because everybody's different, and that's one thing that's like very prevalent nowadays is that everybody's different.
Yeah.
And so you know how people identify themselves as that and the third, however it may be, however you may feel, that's still their identity.
Yeah.
And so who are we to limit somebody's identity? And I think generation now and where we're living at, like we're comfortable with that idea.
Yeah.
We see the people who aren't, but those are the same people who will be freezing up on giving a speech in the middle of the day.
Oh, I saw that. That
everything.
boy a clone, man.
Yeah,
The clone's not even real. That boy
you
even
know what I
person,
mean?
bro.
Like
He was a
so
robot.
It's things like that that just lets me know. Yeah. It
That
just
man
lets
is a robot, for real.
I don't know what that man was. I don't know what that man was.
Said that man was having a stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Said nigga was having a seizure up there or something.
Was he? He said he was shitting his pants, man. That's what my man says. He said it.
Hey, probably a combination of both, for real.
I'm saying your kids be standing, they just be standing. He be like, "Yo, what you doing? Hey, what you doing? What you doing over there?"
You feel me, man?
Niggas walked up there. Was like, you need to go.
Yeah.
It's like she go.
That's what I say. Like, you okay? He was
Just
like, come on.
stuck.
He was like, let's go.
He said, let's go.
Anything else you want to say to people?
Let's go to the back. Let's go get
They
Let's go
should've
get you
been
some
pulled up.
food, champ.
Yeah. Tough, man. Hate to see
Oh
it.
man.